just deal with me. Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the African Street Festival and the Freedom Rides revisited. And of course, we have with us to talk about the African Street Festival, Kwame LLillard, and to talk about the Freedom Rides, Mr. Alan Kaysen, a participant in the Freedom Rides. And of course, Kwame, let us welcome you as well as you, Mr. Alan Kaysen, to the show this morning, and to talk about a topic that has been revived in a real sense, Kwame, primarily because of your efforts and the efforts of others dealing with what has happened at Tennessee State University over the last several weeks. Let's start off, Kwame, by having you and later Mr. Kaysen to give us some information relative to your background, your education, and some of the things that were important in terms of getting you involved in the activities that you're involved in now, and then we'll talk about some other aspects of your involvement.
Well, in 1961, you know, that was 2 years after the initial training of the students in the Central Committee here in Nashville, around the First Baptist Capitol Hill, around Clark Memorial. There was a cadre of people who were trained in late '59 in the ways of Gandhian resistance. And when '60 came, they were prepared to start the protest. Of course, Greensboro, North Carolina, hit on February 1st. Those students in Greensboro created the sit-in movement in Greensboro. But 13 days later, their much better organized Nashville movement undertook a successful sit-in movement that resulted in the first lunch counters in the South being open to all races. So we were much better trained. We had a better support system in terms of adults, the legal system here in Nashville than it did Greensboro. So Greensboro was given the credit February 1st, 1960 for being the first student protest. The difference is that Nashville movement was so well organized that Dr. King came to Nashville to learn how we were doing this. So when the core group was burnt out in Anderson, Alabama in '61, that next year, they gave up the Freedom Ride. The Nashville movement was so well organized, we just simply said, no, you're not giving it up. We're going to pick it up, and we continued and were successful in making the Kennedy administration force the Interstate Commerce Commission to enforce the right for everybody to ride airplanes, buses, trains, or boats without any fear of being harmed because of the race. So the Nashville movement was just simply too well organized to do anything but do what it did, which is continue the Freedom Ride and move that into voter registration in the entire South.
Very good. And of course, Mr. Kaysen, as a participant in the Freedom Rides yourself, why don't you tell us what motivated you to become involved? Because I'm sure that you understood the social and the political situation at the time. What motivated you to become involved in this activity?
Motivation was this, that we were not progressing. What the jobs, our background, only thing we were looking for being a teacher. If there's not teaching jobs, what we're looking at, another thing is zero. How many teachers do you have in a school? But we had to look at things. Why do I have to go to the back of the bus? Why do I have to go to the alley? Do you have urinate? Why do we do these kind of things? No. I said, I'm tired of it. My parents, they my loving parents, they grew up in this kind of situation. I was not going to deal with it. It was a change that we made. And I said no.
In spite of all the danger that you might face, you decided that you would not go along with that.
I would not go along with it. Plus, you have to realize that things happened years ago, back before we were born. And in Christ's days, with people had to stand for themselves. And now it's time for we to stand for ourselves. Even though we might die. But yet still, we will not go out and hurt anyone. We were nonviolent. We were loving. We were caring. We were trying to show the people that love is better than hate.
And of course, as we near this end of this first segment, with the quote that was made quite a while ago is that before I'd be a slave, I'd be willing to go in my grave, bury my grave, and so that was a prime motive in terms of the way many of you felt that nothing was worse than the situation that you found yourselves in.
Right, and plus we were not going to hurt anybody.
And you were nonviolent. You were not there to try to kill folks, but only to demand the rights that you felt that you ought to have. Okay, and of course we're making preparations for the first commercial break, and then after which Leo Kwame is going to give us some information relative to an organization that played a significant role in this. Of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Talking to Kwame LLillard.